Welcome to the Stronger Marriage Podcast.
We're your hosts. I'm Lee.
And I am Trey.
We've been married for 32 years.
We have 4 grown sons, 2 daughters-in-law, and 1 precious granddaughter.
We started doing weekend marriage workshops about 10 years ago.
We now have about 16 workshops a year that we do all over the United States.
We've authored 2 books together. Our first book is called 10 Ways to a Stronger Marriage, in which we give very practical, doable tips that will help couples build a stronger marriage, whether it's currently great, good, or struggling.
Ooh, that sounds good. Our newest book is called Wisdom for Your Marriage, a couple's devotional guide through the book of Proverbs. And many of you who are listening to this have read that book, and we're thankful for that.
We hope to offer tips and encouragement along your marriage journey.
Again, welcome to the Stronger Marriage Podcast. Glad you joined us today.
Hello, everybody.
Glad you're here. Today is Thursday. We have coffee in hand. It's Thursday afternoon. We are afternoon coffee drinkers, and we've got our coffee in hand. You may be on your drive to work or drive home or sitting in your kitchen today
We're
coffee.
Glad you joined us.
That's exactly right. We're going to talk about conflict today. But before we kick off talking about marriage conflict, let's talk about the fact that we're going to be in Cleburne, Texas this weekend, and we're excited about that workshop.
Yeah, the DFW area, that ought to be really good. People can drive from a little bit all over to get to that one. So
yeah, and we have, if you're listening to this, we have folks that drive into our workshop from hours and hours away. We have couples that fly in. We've had couples from California that have flown to Texas. We've had it's just amazing where people come from for workshops. And so maybe you could make a weekend out of it sometime or another, but Cleburne, Texas this weekend, it's full. It's filled up. Don't have any room for anybody else. We have Fritch, Texas coming up at the end of March. We have Portland, Oregon, of all places, which we're excited about. Been a while since we've been out to the northwest.
Yes. Yeah, we don't get up that direction very often. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, and then back to Nashville toward the end of next month. And so if you want those exact dates, you can look on our webpage, treyandlee.com, and you can find all the info on dates, upcoming events, and everything else. And just to let you know, churches are the ones that host our workshop, and they bring us in and provide a facility for us to use. And maybe you're listening and you'd like your church to consider hosting a workshop. We'd love to come your direction. Email us and talk to us a little bit. We'll tell you what we need to do to get out your direction and see what we can do about coming y'all's direction. If you're looking for a good way to bless your community, to open your doors to community people and to your own church folks, a marriage or family workshop, we do both of those, would be a great thing to do.
Yes, very good. You ready to kick in?
Kick in. Tell me what we're talking about today.
So we've got 4 things we want you to remember during marriage conflict.
Do people have conflict in marriage?
I think that people probably do have conflict during marriage.
What about us?
Even the best of marriages.
We have a good marriage and we still have conflict.
We do.
I think conflict ends when you die.
I think you're exactly right. I mean, I would say we have a great marriage, but we still, just little things. It can be little things. I don't think we have huge conflicts very often.
We get frustrated at each other sometimes.
Just little frustrations.
We can be hard-headed with one another at sometimes. We have a lot of differences. We talk about our differences a lot in our workshop, and these are kind of fun. These aren't big conflicts. These are little conflicts. We do have big conflicts, but just the fact that Lee and I are so different in our personalities, and we're just night and day, sometimes causes conflict in our relationship. For an example, I'm a be on time guy. I like to be on time is to be 15 minutes early. And if something starts at 9, I don't want to get there at 9. I want to get there at 8:45. That's what it means to be on time. And Lee is not an on-time girl.
Not so much. I always think, man, that gives me 15 more minutes to get something done. So, yeah, we always like to say if running late were an exercise, I would be so fit. Man, I get all my cardio in.
That's right, because you'd be running all the time.
Running all the time, yeah.
One of the things that's brought a lot of peace in our marriage is 2 cars. And we live in a small town, so it's like, I'm leaving, you can meet me there.
Yes.
But yeah, we're different in that. Another way we're pretty different is I'm not a very organized person, a little disorganized. I've gotten better.
You have gotten a lot better. I think you've recognized some value in organization.
I agree that my closet looks really good right
Yeah.
now. My cars are clean and organized.
It doesn't stay. You're really
struggle.
good at that. It just doesn't stay that way.
But then I clean it back up.
Yes. You go
Now, when it comes to organization, you are you are Monica from Friends on organization.
somewhat, but you
Yeah.
know, you could open my closet and think, "Ooh, she's not very organized."
But you know where everything is.
I do know where everything is. I mean, like all the pants are together, all the long sleeve shirts are together, all the short sleeve shirts, all the tank tops are together. I mean, you know, you just
Yeah, can I ask you a question? Are they all hanging the same direction?
Of course they are.
Why? Do they have to hang the same direction?
Every hanger.
Oh, my goodness.
Exactly the same direction.
They
Yes.
all got the same direction.
Yes.
That cracks me up. In colors? Like
No, I don't go that far. I will say
jeans and
I do have one little section that I kind of have all my blacks and whites together. I know that sounds weird, but no.
you're just
Jeans
weird,
are all
but
together.
I'm weird too, so if anybody's different than the other person, they're weird. So
That's right.
you're organized, I'm not. That causes
That's right.
conflict
It
sometimes.
does sometimes.
It causes conflict.
Yes.
Details cause conflict in our marriage sometimes because I'm not a detail person.
You're not a detail
I don't
person.
have to have a lot of details. I'm the one that organizes our workshops, and a lot of times I just kind of need to know where we're going to show up, and we'll get it figured out when we get there. And you're asking who, what, where, when, why, and I'm
Yes.
like, I don't know.
I need to know all of the things. So,
And so a detail person like you needs to know details, and I have to meet you in the middle on that.
yeah, you what is it that you like to say? You fly by the seat of your pants?
Yes, I do.
And
I'm comfortable with that.
And I want to know ahead of time. I want to plan.
That's right. I'm an extrovert, and things like talking to thousands of people a year, to me, that's fun. That's an adrenaline rush. Stepping up in front of a crowd full of people, and man, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm an introvert, and I always like to say I'm still trying to figure out how you get me up in front of people. I'm a whole lot more comfortable doing this right here.
Because people aren't looking at us?
Right.
Okay.
I'm not in front of people, so to speak.
Yeah, even little stuff. If I'm drinking tea, I'd like it sweet.
And I drink mine unsweet,
But I like my coffee black.
and I put some milk in my coffee.
Yeah. If I'm eating cereal, which I like cereal, I want it in a really big bowl with a really big spoon.
Yes, you've got a really big mouth, apparently.
I guess I do. I don't. It take all day to. That wasn't very nice. Next week's podcast, be nice to your
I
husband.
know, conflict. So, yeah.
And what about you? And you eat cereal, but you eat cereal.
I mean, a normal bowl, a normal size bowl, and a normal size spoon for a normal serving of cereal. You can fit like 3 servings of cereal in your bowl.
like a normal person. I would love to know. I bet there are husbands out there, wives are listening to this right now going, my husband does that too.
Yeah, but you know, you get more calories. You
Yeah.
get more calories in a day than I do.
Yeah.
So it's just only natural that you can eat out of a bigger bowl, I guess.
I don't want tiny bites of cereal. I want a big bite of cereal. I'm a morning person. I like the mornings. In fact, I actually kind of rolled over this morning about 5:45 and thought, oh, I'd love to go ahead and get up, but I'm going to try and wait till 6. I was happy and went ahead and got up. You know, I like the mornings make me, I go to bed at night thinking, I wish I could just go ahead and get up.
Mm-hmm. And
I like getting up.
you do like getting up. I'm a night owl, though.
I know, you're not a morning person.
I can stay up really late. We try to go to bed together. We've talked about that. It's healthy to go to bed at the same time. But I don't fall asleep in 30 seconds like you do. I might read for an hour after we go to bed, and that's okay.
Sometimes I wake up and think, oh, it's time to get up, and you're still reading your book. And I'm like, oh, it's only midnight.
But
that's right. You're a night owl.
I got down to 20 pages left in my book last night, so I kind of struggled to tell myself it was nearly 1, and I thought, I really need to quit reading.
And mornings? Do you like mornings?
I am not so much a morning person.
That's true. You've got to have some coffee.
I like to just kind of lay there and get awake before like your eyes pop open and your feet hit the ground.
Yeah, like why lay in bed? Get up.
And I like to just, that's kind of my quiet time. I lay there and get my prayer time in, get maybe check some phone notifications, check the weather. Does that mean I'm old? I'll check the weather.
Probably, we do that.
I got to know how to dress for the day, right? Yeah. So you don't understand, because sometimes I'll lay there for an hour before I get out of bed.
Yeah, in fact, I don't even know you're awake, and all of a sudden I get a notification on my phone that you've liked something, and I think, she's in there awake.
And you came and climbed back in bed the other morning, and I was
did.
see, it's kind of nice to just lay here and under the covers. And
yeah, that was kind of fun.
But
I thought about it this morning.
But I'm kind of glad you don't do that at 6 a.m. when I'm trying to sleep.
I could do that. Just start checking my notifications.
Because all your little sounds would start going off.
That's it. Lee's not a morning person. I always like to say it's about 10 a.m. before she decides if she's going to be a Christian for the day.
Yes. See, that's why I lay there.
That's it.
So that I don't get up and start being grouchy to you when I get up.
And as we mentioned, I fall asleep very quickly.
You do. That's your superpower. Yeah. I don't have that superpower.
I drink coffee in the morning because I like coffee.
Yeah, and I drink it. We tease. I really do like coffee, but we tease that I drink coffee for your protection.
That's true. I'm all right. Sometimes I fix you a second cup.
I like the mug that says, it's got the little lines on there that say, it's like if you're going to talk to me, and it kind of shows you how much coffee I've had, and if it's safe to talk to me yet. And it's like, not yet, almost. Okay. Yep. Okay, you can talk.
I have bought Lee a coffee mug that says, I'm sorry for what I said before I had my coffee.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all right.
Things happen. So I'm kind of a neat freak, a little bit of a neat freak.
You are, and I'm a little bit sloppy at times.
And we shop different.
We do. You shop like a woman.
I do. We ran to the store just while ago. I mean, just had a few things on our list, and Trey's thinking, man, we're going to fly in and out there in 10 minutes tops. And I started looking at stuff.
Yeah, I was getting a little, you were like taking pictures of stuff and sending them to your kids. And I'm like, will you come on, let's get in and get out of this store.
Yeah. So,
I was trying not to act frustrated.
Yeah, we shop different. Toilet paper even. I mean, can you have conflict over toilet paper? Apparently. Because in our house, the toilet paper goes over the top of the roll. Mm-hmm. Over the top.
And until I got married, I didn't even know there was a right way to put on toilet paper. I just thought if I showed up and there was some there, I was happy.
It's right. And you probably didn't always even put it on when you lived by yourself, right? It was kind of one of those prop it up.
Yeah, you just prop it up. That's like heathen. That's terrible stuff to do. Don't do that. If we ever have to have counseling in our marriage, it will be over the fact that I've either put the toilet paper up on top of the roll instead of on an empty roll, or we're debating over the speed of the ceiling fan at nighttime in bed. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yes. Which I like running full speed, and you like running slow.
Well, I mean, these are small things that we can laugh about, but they really do cause conflicts at times. And some of our personality differences and our listeners as well, y'all may have personality differences that can cause really huge conflicts that, you've got to agree on things like, how are we going to discipline our kids? You may have different ideas about how that needs to be done. Maybe about how you're going to spend your money. One of you may think we need to spend our money on this, and one of you may think we need to spend our money on this, and one of you may be a spender, one may be a saver. And those kinds of things can sometimes cause really big conflicts.
And some of you may be listening to this and you may have some very, very serious conflicts in your marriage right now. And we just want to give you some pointers today on how to handle some conflict and maybe 4 little things you can look at that can bless you during some marriage conflicts instead of make things worse. And so that's very, very important that you handle conflict well. Conflict is just a part of marriage.
It is.
In fact, the absence of conflict over a long period of time in marriage is not a sign of a healthy marriage, but probably a sign that both partners have disengaged from working on differences. Meaning, if both of you just sweep it under a rug, you're just asking for trouble big time. So one wants you to go out and look for. I mean, we don't look for reasons to argue or have conflict, but conflict, as we'll talk in a minute, actually strengthens you as a couple.
It does. It can. Absolutely does.
So let's talk about number one when it comes to things to remember when we're going through conflict.
Hard times will either make you bitter or better, and you get to decide which one.
So why do we get to decide which one of those? Meaning, no matter what happens, we've got the option of being better or bitter, correct?
That's right. That's exactly right. And I mean, you can decide this as a couple or you can decide this as an individual, right? I mean,
True.
one of you may say, hey, let's make this better. And one of you may be like a grudge holder and like, I'm going to dwell on this.
And of course, listening to this, the goal is not to become bitter. The
Exactly.
goal is to become better. It's to figure out what's causing the conflict, work on it, and make it better. Because if you're constantly holding a grudge or unforgiveness, you will get bitter and it will poison your marriage. And that is not what anybody wants.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you can either dwell on it and be mad all the time, or you can go to work. You can work through it and you can make things better. So
Yeah.
that's the goal, because conflict is going to happen, and it can always be resolved.
Yeah. So you're going to, after conflict or during conflict, you can get bitter or better, and your goal is to get better, not bitter. All right? That's your
Absolutely.
choice.
Yes.
You make the choice. So what's another one?
And so that kind of leads into the second one, that you will become stronger because you went through whatever conflict it was. Conflict does make you stronger. Nobody wants to go through conflict. I mean, it's not fun, but you'll get better if you go through it. It's kind of like, even, we work out on a pretty regular basis, go to the gym, and your muscles get sore. And, there's days and I think, I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to do it. And then, you kind of think, man, I worked too hard and I'm so sore. But that just is making you stronger. It hurts,
Yeah.
but it's making you stronger.
Yeah. If you never had conflict, if there was never any stress in your world, then there would not be a lot of growth. In fact, the book of James in the Bible, a book written by Jesus's brother, James says that trials cause you to have, he says, be happy about them, which doesn't make a lot of sense, for us, because nobody's ever happy about, oh, great, we're having a trial. He says, consider it pure joy when you face trials, because those trials make you stronger. They bring perseverance, and you get stronger. And when we go through trials, we get stronger as couples. And some of the marriages we've met that are the strongest and the most amazing are couples that have gone through amazing amount of struggles and trials and
some serious
difficulties,
hardships,
and you just can't get everything smooth. I think I told on the podcast this story maybe a year ago. My friend AJ is a cotton farmer. We live in Texas, where they do a lot of cotton farming, and while I've grown up around cotton farming, there's a lot about cotton farming I don't know. I am not a cotton farmer, but we had a summer where it was not too hot. It was not too cold. We had rain. It just seemed like we had rain every couple of weeks, just perfectly. It was those perfect summers where you just go, the weather's been so pretty all year. We've had rain. Everything's growing. And I said something to my buddy AJ, who's a cotton farmer, and I said, this has got to be the best year for cotton. How could it not be the best year for cotton? Your cotton has gotten everything it wants. It's got rain when it wants. It's got sunshine when it wants. It hasn't been stressed out by getting too hot, getting too cold. And I'll never forget what AJ said. AJ said, oh no, my cotton's not going to be great this year. Because, he said, nothing has stressed out my cotton. He said, it's got everything it wanted. Said, my cotton grows the best and it produces the best fruit, and it is the strongest when there are times that it gets stressed out, when it wants a drink and doesn't get one, or when the sun gets really, really hot and it's hunting for some shade. Said that stress or those struggles make that cotton actually stronger and produce more fruit, more cotton. And I just thought, wow, I've never thought about that. And that's how life is and how marriage is sometimes, is you look at conflict and sometimes you go, I hate this. Because sometimes people think if we have conflict, we have a bad marriage. You can have conflict and not have a bad marriage. But conflict is going to make you persevere. It's going to make you stronger as a couple, and it's going to bless your marriage if you work through it and not sweep things under a rug.
Yeah. A lot of people are really good about just, sweeping things under the rug, burying their head in the sand, pretending they don't have problems. It's like, well, if we don't bring this up, it'll just go away. And problems usually don't just go away. They just fester and grow, and at some point you're going to have to deal with it.
And while we're talking about this, let me throw this out there, because I think this is a really good idea. We're not looking for conflict. Don't make mountains out of molehills. If you're going to have a conflict over something, pick something to have a good conflict. Does it make sense? I mean, if we're going to argue about something, we're really going to have some conflict over it. We want it to be something that's very important,
Yes.
not something about,
The toilet paper.
The toilet
and how it
paper,
goes on the
exactly.
roll.
And so don't major in minors, and don't make mountains out of molehills. If you're going to have some conflict, have it over some stuff that matters. And then there are times, while it's not on here, there are times to give up on conflict. There are times when you and I don't see eye to eye on something, and it's not a major deal, and we just kind of both agree that we're probably going to have to just disagree on this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go to bed and hold a grudge against you because you don't see things my way, and you're not going to go to bed and hold a grudge against me because I didn't see things your way. So do your best to work through that conflict, but understand there is a time for, let's have some peace. Let's go on a date and not talk about conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go have some fun and not deal with some of the conflict that's going on. That's an important thing to remember.
Yeah, and remember that it will make you stronger.
That's right.
To go through the conflict, whatever it is, it will make you stronger. It will make the next time conflict arises maybe a little bit easier to go through because you've already done it once.
Yep.
So, what's the next one we're going to talk about?
Number 3, you don't have to go it alone with conflict. You can lean on God. You can lean on your spouse. You can lean on loved ones. And let us explain this a little bit more. You may be having conflict with your spouse, but that doesn't mean you're still on the same team. I still love my wife, even though we may not see eye to eye on something. In fact, we say oftentimes on social media, sometimes we choose to love each other on days when we don't like each other very well. And that's not very often. But I mean, days when we're just not clicking and not getting along, I still love her with all of my heart. I would lay my life down. We are the same team, and we still rely on each other, even when we have conflict. And we rely on God, and you can pray about things, and you can reach out to others who might help. Let me remind you this, though. Be cautious about when we talk about leaning on others. If you're having conflict in your marriage, of course, you can find help through counselors, ministers. Call some churches. They provide counseling, mentors. But be cautious that you don't go drag your disagreements to your family of your spouse through. Don't drag your spouse through the mud to your family and friends, because then you're going to wonder why down the line they don't like your spouse.
Yes.
So you be cautious about who you talk to about conflict, and instead
how often.
And how often. And
Yeah.
maybe it's not a hey, here's some things that Lee and I are going through that I'm struggling with. Do you think I'm right on this? Maybe it's just hey, pray about us. We're trying to figure some stuff out that we can't figure out. You don't have to give all the dirt on all the details.
Right. Yeah. If you just can't seem to get on the same page, that might be when you need to seek some outside help. So,
I think we're down to the last one.
Our last one is you can't fail if you don't quit.
Yeah, in marriage. This is overall. There are going to be ups and downs. There are going to be betters and worses. You said that in your vow, but you cannot fail if you do not quit. Do not give up because of conflict.
You got a good verse here in Galatians 6:9.
Yeah, what does that say?
This is from the New Living Translation, and it says, "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up."
Yeah, don't give up. We will reap a harvest of blessing in our life, in our faith, in our family, in our marriage, if we will continue to do good and if we will continue not to give up. And that is important. Don't let your marriage get to the point of big trouble before you reach out. Start working on some things all the time. Don't wait until your marriage is at a waterfall, about to go over to go, I guess we ought to look for some help. Work on your marriage in the good times and in the struggling times, and you'll probably have less struggling times.
Yeah. The couples who don't quit when the marriage goes through the bad years get to enjoy the good years.
That's true. There's been times where I look back and I can't think of times where I've thought, boy, there's just a long period of time where we haven't got along. But I feel like we're in some of the best years of our marriage right now. We've been married 32 years. Things kind of click along and go along, but I'm just glad we didn't at some point in our past go, well, our personality differences, which have been a stress in our marriage, are just too much. We're just going to check out because we've learned to adjust those. We've learned to adapt those things. We've learned in our personality differences that strengths and weaknesses combine really well. Your weaknesses are many of my strengths, and my weaknesses and the things I struggle with are your very strengths as well. And so we blend so well together.
Yeah, when we finally learn to work together instead of trying to fix each other to be like us, that was a little bit of a learning curve there, but we finally figured out that we were on the same team.
That's true.
Let's blend our personalities and have a really good whole marriage.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You said that well. You can't spend your marriage trying to fix your spouse.
No.
If you're gonna fix anybody, fix yourself. And
a lot of times that will just fix. Yeah, if you fix yourself, a lot of times that just fixes all of the problems.
Yeah, that is exactly right. So. Every person, every marriage has their ups and downs. Hang in there during hard times. Many times the better is right around the corner from the worst. Don't give up during the hard times and miss out on the good times. But conflict is a part of marriage. The big belief today, if I could close this with one thought, the big belief today is, hey, if we've got some conflict, we have a bad marriage. And that's not true. There is no perfect marriages because there are no perfect people. There will always be conflict, and you can have a good marriage while you have some conflict. Just because circumstances aren't lining out the way that you want them to go exactly doesn't mean your marriage is bad.
That's exactly right. I think that, man, this was some good food for thought today.
That was good stuff. We've got some podcasts coming up. Anytime you have an idea for a podcast, reach out to us. We love hearing from you. Our web page, treyandlee.com, has got our email address on it. You can message us at any time. If you're going to Cleburne this weekend, we will see you there. It's going to be an exciting weekend. We're excited about that. We have begun to get some questions about something we have coming up in July. We did this last July, and it's called a getaway weekend. This is kind of our big thing that we're kind of doing now. At one time a year, we have a big workshop, and it is in a hotel and not in a church. You come, you spend the night. Don't bring your kids, and we try to make it a big weekend for marriage. It's just a bucket list weekend. That's what I like to call it.
We hope that couples will take the whole weekend. We start Friday evening, have a couple of sessions. We don't start quite as early on Saturday morning, so you can have a little time in the morning to have breakfast or whatever. We finish up pretty early Saturday afternoon, and then we hope that couples will take the rest of Saturday and have a date, do something fun, and go ahead and take advantage of staying at the same hotel, maybe Saturday night as well.
Yep.
And extending the weekend into Sunday without kids and just kind of having a getaway weekend.
Yep. This will be on our website. Yeah. It'll be in Dallas. It will be at a hotel. There will be a charge for this because we'll have to rent a big conference room, and it will come with prizes, goodie bags. We'll have some giveaways. It will be a lot of fun, and it will sell out. Last year in Lubbock, we did one. We had room for 80 couples, and it was sold out in an hour. And so we're not trying to stress anybody out. We're just saying if you really think about flying in to Dallas for that weekend, you need to be on your toes because once it fills up, we can't do anything about it.
And we did, last year, the time of year we did it, there was we really had to social distance. We don't know what things are going to look like in July. So, maybe we won't have to do as much of that. We can hold a few more couples than we did last time, but the Dallas-Fort Worth area is where we're looking. We don't have an exact place pinned down, but we have the dates
are on our webpage.
Yes.
All right, we got to stop. We're sitting at 30 minutes, and we try not to ever go over that. So you guys have a blessed day. Thank y'all for listening. We are honored, and we will see you next week.
See you guys.